Good afternoon, Professor Rao. Welcome to the Oral History Program of the Heritage Center of IIT Madras.
Thank you.
Professor Kolar, thank you for joining us on this program.
My pleasure.
So, Professor Rao, you had a long association with IIT Madras, is what I know. So, can you tell us how it all began? What is your journey to IIT Madras?
Yeah, the journey began actually in Germany. I had just completed my PhD in Germany, and Professor A. Ramchandran, the then director, had this program of recruiting people from abroad for setting up new laboratories. And since IIT Madras got its aid from West Germany, people in Germany were also preferred in some of these selections. Especially the lab in the electrical engineering department, the high voltage engineering lab, was directly designed by one Professor Kind, under whom I had done my PhD.
Okay.
So the equipment came from Germany. We were all already using this equipment in Germany. So we were kind of preferred to come to IIT Madras. That's how the high voltage.
Which university were you in Aachen or Braunschweig?
Braunschweig. Technical University of Braunschweig.
And I guess the year was 68 or so, because you mentioned Professor Ramchandran was director.
Yes, 68 I completed my PhD the month of March, April I think, and joined here by about July, August.
So was the electrical sciences building in place already at that time?
Yes. The electrical science block was ready. Professor Venkat Rao was the head of the department at that time. And with him was this, we used to call them the famous trio. Professor Vedagopal, Professor Achyutan, and Professor Vijay.
Okay.
That was the group.
They were called the trio. Trio.
Famous electrical engineering trio. Any decision in the department was with Professor Venkat Rao and these three.
Professor Sampath was there? Professor Sampath? He was already there or no?
He belonged to the department, but he was mostly a deputy director.
He was already deputy director at that time.
In charge director sometimes, or deputy director mostly.
So when you came in, what was your initial reaction to the laboratory and the responsibilities you were given, and how did it?
The administrative building itself was not there. It was all working from the
Building Sciences block.
Computer center. It became later on.
BSB. BSB.
Yeah. It became computer center.
Yes.
That building. And this trio was called by Professor Ramchandran when I had the interview here, and he okayed it. They accompanied me to the department. That's how I was initiated into the electrical engineering department.
So you had an interview in IIT Madras, but that was just a formality. You were already selected because of your German background and high voltage expertise.
Discussions were over. I came to Bangalore. In Bangalore, I was called for an interview here with Professor Ramchandran, mostly. Nothing else, no other formal interview. Then I was asked to fill up the usual form, go through the medical examination, general hospital. I had to go and get medically certified. And formal letter came much later, a month or so later. But we started work. And to set up the laboratory was the main job for us. And for that, German technical assistant also came along with me. One Mr. Markman.
What was he? He was a faculty?
No, he was a technical assistant. Senior technical assistant.
Okay.
Called. And he just completed his BTech there. It was called Dippel-Ing. The doctorate is called Dr. Ing.
Yes.
The diploma in engineering is not a diploma, but the degree itself is called Dippel-Ing. He had just completed in Braunschweig, and we had known each other already in Braunschweig.
Yes.
So both of us were sent out. There was a committee called the German IIT Madras Committee that used to select German professors and German technical assistants for working in IIT Madras. So since my professor was a member of that committee, we selected Mr. Markman and myself as two people to come on. And as soon as we came, the German equipment started arriving. Our first job was to set up the
High voltage lab.
and then start teaching courses. But initially, only we were concerned about the laboratory.
So it's a very minimum number of faculty and labs and technicians in the electrical department at that time. It was started, it is still in the process of development.
No, the machines lab was already there, measurements lab. Because
Okay.
Professor Murthy was there, Professor
VJ
Ajit was there. So Venugopal had started power and high voltage, both were in one wing.
Okay.
And Achutan was the communications man, and VG Murthy was the measurements, and Venkataraman was the electrical machines lab.
I see.
Most of the labs were in place.
Okay.
Equipment started coming. By that time, all these equipments were there. The power wing,
Only.
high voltage lab was not. At that time, high voltage lab in India was available only in Indian Institute of Science.
I see.
And IIT Kharagpur had a smaller lab. The biggest lab in the country was IISc Bangalore. And I had the advantage of being a graduate of that lab.
Yes.
MTech I did in IISc Bangalore
Okay.
in the high voltage.
What is so specific about that high voltage system for you to get that kind of an
It's
expertise?
very specific because huge generator which you see in the high voltage lab is called the Marx generator. So Marx is the designer of that circuit. It's called the Marx circuit, and it's called the Marx type of. It can generate up to 3 million volts.
Wow. So high voltage is what? What is the order we are talking about?
Order of magnitude is millions of volts, not thousands.
Oh, wow.
Millions of volts, but instantaneous.
Yeah.
It is a microsecond duration. So it's called the Marx generator. And Professor Marx was still active in Germany. I wanted to work with him. That's how I went to Germany.
I see.
But by the time I landed up in Broadway, Professor Marx retired and this Professor Kind had succeeded him. So I started with Professor Kind.
Well, what is the purpose of generating such high voltages? I mean, what was the purpose of studying these voltages?
We simulate the extremely high voltages which are happening in the lightning stroke. When the lightning strikes, it is several orders of millions of volts.
Yes.
Wow.
We can in the laboratory go up to 3 million volts in this country. Power Research Institute in Bangalore has another generator which can go up to 3 to 4 or so. But the biggest is only up to 6 million volts, 10 million volts in what you can generate in a laboratory. But the effect is simulated in testing your electrical equipment.
And what is the practical implication of that?
Utilization, you build a transformer. You don't know how it will perform later when the natural lightning strikes it.
Okay.
So instead of, we can't generate up to 10 or 12 million volts, but we then test it at up to 3 million volts. And if it passes, then only it is manufactured. But any transformer has to be type tested.
Okay.
And once the design is approved, you can routinely manufacture more of them. But at least the first one must be tested. All the there are Indian standard specifications, international specifications, according to which we test.
I think the electrical sciences block had a distinct wiring system where the fixtures were all German. It was different from the rest of the institute.
Really, I am not
is
aware.
that right?
I'm not aware of it. But to some extent, it might be true because that the 3-pin plugs which you use, etc., are all slightly designed differently. And initially, all the German professors who came insisted on the same type of thing which were in Germany, and so it might be partially true. I'm not fully aware of it because in our lab we did the entire wiring and everything. It was according to Indian standards.
So with that background then, how easy or difficult was it to set it up? How was the environment?
Just walked into it because you had all the experience in Germany.
That's the thing.
Exactly similar equipment I had worked with in Germany.
Oh, that became that much easy.
Easy to work. Problems came only in the civil engineering setup, so the lab was not high enough.
Yeah, it required
tall enough. So you see that pit in the high voltage lab, it is located in a pit. That is because the total height of the laboratory was not designed as a high voltage laboratory, but as a high power laboratory.
I see.
So the Germans used to call it high power and low power. In the German language, it is called like that.
Mm.
In English, they made it high power laboratory. Only
Okay.
after we came and all that, high voltage laboratory. So the roof height was not sufficient for that time. We had to dig up 1.5 meters or 2 meter pit inside with this aspect. Naturally, it brought some problems whenever there was a heavy rainfall in this September month. Usually, it used to rain very heavily in those days. But now it is much less in Madras, I hear. But in those days together, it used to rain. And the pit used to fill up with water. That was our problem, initial problem to solve that.
How did you find the local technicians compared to your German counterparts? Their expertise, their cooperation, how was it?
Naturally, not as good as the technicians there because they didn't have the
They didn't have the training.
Those people are heavily trained people. You just tell them they were competent, but here we had to guide step by step. We had to train them.
Yeah, it's a big
This
thing.
kind of laboratory equipment they had not seen, and we had to train them really from scratch almost.
So how long it took this entire thing?
In a matter of a year or so, we
Okay.
completed the laboratory work, full set.
That was
Very
done.
happy. They picked up very well.
You had a big inauguration program or something?
No.
No, you just started using it when it was completed.
Only I think the director was invited to see the laboratory before it was switched on and all that. And, a German professor also came, but much later.
Who was that, sir? What was his name? Electrical?
Rutloff.
Rutlo. I see.
Rutloff was, he was working in Hanover. We were in Braunschweig, about 100 kilometers away. We didn't know him there, but he was a well-known person, so he came over here. But practically, he didn't contribute much. He had some personal problems.
Okay.
And he was later when he went back, he took almost an Indian museum back to Germany.
Kumaran, it's interesting because as I was going through the photographs for the Heritage Center, this photograph really, made a big impression on me. It's a old black and white with this huge, really huge thing, sir. I said, what is this equipment? In mechanical, we had a power plant. This was a big thing. So that, I remember, I wanted to find out what it is. So I asked Professor P. Shankaran during the search for photographs. He said, oh, this is Professor Narayana Rao's lab. This is high voltage thing.
Right.
So that was a really impressive piece of equipment.
There are two generators. One of them is a power frequency. That means at 50 hertz. It can generate up to 800 kV.
Wow, kV, 1000, yeah.
800 kV. That is the one which is in the pit because it's a continuous source. Whereas the other one can go up to 1.5 million. 1.5, but instantaneous, microsecond duration. Not a continuous, can't draw power from that. It is used for testing, simulating lightning stroke. That is 1.5 million, whereas the one which is a power frequency source, which can supply over several minutes. This can only microseconds.
I remember being taken to that lab as a student, possibly the orientation course, and we were given a demonstration of the high voltage when there's a breakdown in the air.
Actually, we put up two spheres like this and apply the voltage, so there is a flash. We demonstrated in the first day, and the new students come in.
Sir, I was about to ask you. So, how were the students either trained on this, or you just demonstrated something, or they did some experiments? What was the...
For student training, the voltages were definitely not as high as this. We used to train them at the maximum 100 kV. I told you the transformer can go up to 800.
800.
The smaller units, we call them Baukasten in German.
Okay.
Baukasten means building block. Building block. You have got one capacitor, one resistance, one inductance. You put them up together like a Lido set, no? You can assemble it as a generator. It's called Baukasten. It's a box full of some construction unit. So with that, we give the training to the student. Up to 100 kV, everything is done at lower levels.
Yes.
The principle is explained there. Later on, towards the end, some experiments are shown to the student.
Yes.
They are not allowed to use the equipment. Except for research students, we don't allow the high voltage units.
So this has been now what 45 years or so since that. Is it same technology now, or is there a lot of improvements on this, or what? That's a very fundamental thing.
In fact, Professor Sarathi joined our lab, I think in the 1970s or 80s.
Okay.
Since then, he has miniaturized this.
Okay.
He has brought everything down to the nano level. He deals with nanotechnology, whereas we are dealing with high voltage technology.
Okay.
But the principles of nanotechnology are widely adopted in this. High voltage, how do you measure such a high voltage? 220 volts, you can take a voltmeter and measure. But millions of volts, how do you measure? Dividers are required. You have to subdivide it. All that is done electronically. And electronics came in a much bigger way.
Yes.
Although the equipment is big, the measurement is done at this level, I said.
Right.
You generate voltage at this level, measure it at this level, scale it up.
Yes. Right.
So that's where Professor Sarthi's contribution comes in.
We also know from the annual numbers and so on of the institute that there already were computers at the electrical department. There were 2 computers, if I remember right, analog computers. What were those used for, Professor?
Actually, my colleague, Professor Kumaran Sathasivam, was in charge of the power section. Professor Venugopal and Professor Kumaran Sathasivam, they are the power people. And they had a relay laboratory, and Professor Kumaran Sathasivam used to run this power systems laboratory. The entire grid is simulated as a small computer network. All studies made out of this analog thing and used for power system application, much less for high voltage. For high voltage, we use these computers only to analyze the signal processing, because those high speeds, to measure them accurately, that is where we go in for computers.
It was called a German computer actually. There were 2, one American from IBM.
That's right.
The German computer.
Yes.
The American computer, Professor Sampath went all the way to Brooklyn Poly to get it. I don't know how the German computer came. We have a picture of that in our heritage center.
Pictures I'm referring.
Yeah.
You are referring to those analog computers.
Yes.
They are huge buildings. The HSB room actually was later converted to a computer center with those cards and all that I saw in your book.
Yes.
Those things were all used by the general people, not specifically for electrical purposes, but anybody and everybody could use.
So that was the
something we used to go to the Gindi College also.
what for?
Computer.
Oh, okay. At that time, because we did not have.
We have used Gindi College.
So that is the laboratory thing that you did. So how was the academic atmosphere, teaching students? What did you do at that time? What was your
actually?
What did you teach?
Our job was teaching the power engineering subjects and general electrical engineering courses for all mechanical, electrical, and civil engineering students, the general courses. But specifically at the VTech and MTech level, high voltage was brought in as a specialization. But at the BTech level, it was all power engineering. Only at the MTech level, we had specifically high voltage courses. Otherwise, basic electrical engineering and then power engineering. Those courses were being taught by us.
You also taught in Germany, sir, for some time or to some classes?
In Germany, I didn't do much of teaching, but we used to do laboratories.
Okay. I was just wondering what differences or similarities you found between the teaching environment there and here.
Teaching in Germany was in those days restricted to only professors.
I see.
Only a professor would take class.
Okay.
We were all doctorand, we were called. That means doctorate students, they were all assistants. In fact, so assistants to such an extent, the professor used to write on the board and he would sit down. As an assistant, we had to go and rub the board.
My
clean it
gosh.
completely from end to end. We used to clean the board. They were not allowed to teach.
I see.
So actually, he would give a problem sheet. And then the solution for that we had to work
You
it
have
out.
to work it out.
Correction was our job. But teaching, we were not allowed.
I
Nobody
see.
is allowed. But now things have changed.
Things have changed there
Even in
also.
Germany, there are assistant professors and all that. During our period, there were no assistant professors, only professors.
I see.
To become a professor in Germany was a great honor.
I
Whereas
see.
here, the things were more routine in our country. After a few years service, you
Yeah.
gradually moved on and became a person. That was never heard of in Germany.
Okay.
You will be invited by the university to occupy the chair of a professor. It's a great honor.
I see.
Unlike the British system, where it is gradual.
That's what we follow here.
And the American system, even for PhD, the American system prescribed courses you must do. And all. We have adopted that in IIT. That is never in Germany. You are a free person. You are left in the lab. You can do your research. No prescribed courses.
Oh,
But nowadays they have started American system there also. When we went there, we were not asked to take any course. If you want to, you can attend. Nobody forced it. Of course, everything was in German. Our initial problem was to learn German.
you are a German language expert. You have translated many books.
3 months intensive course from morning 8 o'clock to evening 4 o'clock. That means at least 4 plus 4, 8 hours with a lunch break, if you say 6 hours per day,
My gosh.
3 months continuously.
As soon as you went, that's the first course you have to take.
Pass 2 examinations before you enter the university. And because your thesis has to be written in German. In subjects like civil engineering, mechanical engineering, or even electrical engineering you take, unless you can describe the material, you cannot write a thesis. Leave alone the experiment part. Even materials, their names, this thing, and you have to describe in German.
Yes.
And for that, you have to describe means you must know the language, how to write a sentence. The system there is, you submit your thesis, first draft is given to the professor. He will take 1 or 2 months to correct it and then give it back to you. Then you go to make all the corrections. Then it is referred to the external professors. And if they all approve, the examination is fixed. And after the examination, if you succeed, you have to print it 150 copies of the thesis is given to the university. So that every public library in Germany gets a copy.
Every public?
Yes, every public library.
Library, wow.
You can find the thesis of all universities in public libraries.
That's great.
So while this lab setting up was going on, you were also involved in extracurricular activities. This morning you spoke about the music club. Right? Could you tell us
About the music club, see, that was just an offshoot of some personal this thing. Actually, my wife and Professor Raju's wife tried to were learning Veena. And
you mean Professor V.S. Rao?
Professor V.S. Rao.
Yes.
He had just moved into this campus from Benares, and we got together and we found this teacher, Mr. Nageshwar Rao, Mokapati Nageshwar Rao. He was teaching Indian music in Wesleyan University.
Oh, that was the
He
connection.
had shifted. Ramakrishna.
Ramakrishna.
Professor Ramakrishna.
Aerospace.
So we found a good person in him. He encouraged us. And instead of going for Saturdays, Sundays to the city for a music concert, as the morning session is closed, it was full of so we started doing this one. And other cultural activities inside the campus, used to play tennis in the staff.
Yes.
So staff club tennis court.
Were you in a hostel? What was your accommodation? Where was your accommodation on campus? Did you ever have anything to do with the hostels? Did you be a warden?
I started in Godavari
Yeah.
as a warden because Professor Ramchandran at that time had problem in giving us quarters.
Quarters.
Quarters were not easily available. Staff members were asked to take a building outside, and they said, "Acharya, I will give you. You stay outside." But on one condition, if you become a warden, you might get a quarters. So I was not married at that time, so I decided to get married. We moved into the warden's quarters first. I started as warden of Godavari hostel, and for 2 or 3 years we stayed in the
Warden's quarters, yeah.
and then moved over to third floor.
At that time, there wouldn't have been a swimming pool in place yet.
It was not it, but was built later. We used it. I didn't use it much, but we had a swimming pool in that time was available. But we were not living here. We were living in third floor most of the time. So I didn't want to move into Lakeview Road because although process quarters were there, but we had a good company in the Lakeview Road, so we preferred to stay in Lakeview Road. I'm sorry, we preferred
In the modern, yeah. Sir, what tennis club had started at that time for you to go there for the tennis practice? It was already there?
where
A tennis club.
tennis was already there.
It was already there.
My colleagues at that time were Professor Shankaran from Electrical Engineering Department.
Oh, he was playing
I was
tennis.
there, and one Subramaniam from Physics. So we were about 8 or 10 people. We used to play regularly.
Regularly you start.
And
So E.G. Ramachandran was a tennis player, wasn't he?
yes. Good thing you mentioned it because he was already around 50 or 55, 4 or 5 years before his retirement. Still he used to play tennis. And I used to always wonder, I hope I will be able to play tennis just like E.G. Ramachandran.
And
He used to come with knee pad, arm pad,
I
this
see.
thing, everything. I hope I will be able to continue. But I am able to continue
Yes.
this way.
yeah.
I'm 87 now. I still don't need those pads and these things. I'm able to continue.
What was the campus like then? So because we see the older pictures show that the hostel sector was bare, it didn't have trees. And yes, it was agricultural land that was built upon.
No, I
Do you have recollections of
didn't
how-
see the campus as agricultural land. By the time we came, the hostel buildings were ready, most
Yes.
of them. Quarters were ready. I have seen only some aerial pictures where it looks a bit dry. The first aerial pictures of the campus.
Yes.
But when we came, the campus was, I should say, much more beautiful than what it is today. Full of trees, full of greenery. And unlike today, you see more buildings. Actually, it's a question of growth and more intake of students, more faculty members. Actually, more buildings have come up. But it is, for us at least, it's a bit sad to see campus.
Especially because he was in the warden's quarters.
Yes.
Opposite to that was an open land
Yes.
with a lot of grass and plants and all that, which is now taken over by Himalaya.
That's right.
And then another new building is coming up.
Yeah, the Himalaya, which has now come up,
Yeah.
is blocking the view of the hostels also. You can't even see the hostels from this side. From our quarters, we had a good view of the hostels.
We used to play cricket as youngsters in that open ground. So what he means, I agree with him. That kind of a open land has come down, but more hostels, couple of new academic buildings have come up.
Our cricket activities were also in the stadium. And we used to have good cricket matches, and we used to play with outside universities, staff versus students, IIT versus other institutions and all that. And it so happened that immediately I broke my leg in one of those cricket matches. Only 1 year experience in IIT, no leave at my credit. I had to run around with plaster. It was in 69, just 1 year after I joined. And my German friend helped me. He used to come to the laboratory. He used to bring me from my house. He used to sit in the laboratory just to prove I am taking laboratory classes. I was doing laboratory classes because teaching was not
I
fun.
see.
I had no leave, no pay, no work, no pay.
So as you then grew up in the department, later you became the senior professor and...
I joined as assistant professor.
Yes. Sir, at that time, you came in that old lecturer, assistant professor, you joined at the Middle level then. Okay,
Because I
okay.
had completed my
Yes,
PhD
yes,
already.
yes, yes.
And whereas the others were required to do their PhD.
Yes, you had already. Okay.
3 or 4 years, and then I was associate professor.
Assistant and associate, full professor was there. Yeah.
Did your work at the lab involve meeting students in any way? Or?
Yes. Most of the time, lab work was associated. Coursework, only high voltage courses I used to take because administrative duties and then this thing. I was, for some time, I was in the placement section as placement officer.
Oh.
And then warden, I have done my job as warden. Then in the department, of course, I've been head of the department.
Yeah, later.
At the high voltage, I was the only person at that time.
So we'll come to that. So how about research? At that time, were PhD scholars allotted as soon as you joined, or you waited, or you had to do some co-guidance with seniors, as generally people do? How was that experience?
Directly we used to get them.
Okay.
For high voltage means I used to.
Especially high voltage, it was your specialty.
Some of them were teacher trainees.
Yes.
Were already in the department. They were looking for somebody to guide. So 1 or 2 good teacher trainees I got straight away.
Okay.
And outside some 4 or 5 people. I got.
Oh, from external other institutes. From other institutes also they would. I see.
QIP program.
QIP they used to come.
Program they tried, but I didn't get any students from QIP program. Mostly they were teacher trainees or direct research scholars.
Okay, okay.
In fact, Professor Sarthi came from IISc after finishing his PhD.
Who?
Sarthi.
Sarthi, okay.
Sarthi's guide there was my student.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Okay. So you found the research atmosphere also very. I'm talking about this because I, as also an old research scholar here, I want to know what was the research atmosphere, how the students participated in research, so that we know the changes that have occurred.
Yeah. See, high voltage was too special a subject for getting general students.
Okay.
They would come for electrical engineering. Power was the most common.
I see.
And from among the power candidates, we used to pick up a few by talking to them and finding their aptitude for high voltage work. Some came by names, reputation.
Yeah.
For example, Madras, IIT Madras, Guindy College, and IISc Bangalore. These were the only 3 places at that time where you could do high voltage.
I see.
So from Guindy College, people used to come here.
I see.
And from Bangalore, in fact, that is an interesting thing. When I came from Germany after my PhD, so I tried to get into Bangalore also.
Okay.
That time I was invited to deliver a lecture about my work in Germany and all that.
Yeah.
When I spoke about that, this Professor Rao, he is the guide for Sarthi.
Uh-huh.
He got interested in my topics and all that. He wanted to work with me. So he came from Bangalore to this place. He was my second and third PhD.
So he was here in the 70s?
Huh?
70s he was here?
I don't remember.
Because I think I know him. Ramu.
Short.
Yes.
Later on, he went back. He became professor there in Bangalore.
Okay.
And Bharati worked under him.
Oh, I see. So a lot of interaction between ISC Bangalore and IIT Madras. So then you became the head of the department. How was the thing? What was the administration? Any particular changes we made?
The electrical engineering department, I think even now it is a composite department. Our degrees is electrical only. Does it?
No.
I don't know. At that time, the degree was awarded only as electrical. It is composite department, electronics and power.
Yeah.
The degree you get only as electrical. That was the case.
Okay.
So there used to be always some fight between these two sections.
As usual.
As usual. So during my period, I was able to solve some of these anomalies, and then people were quite happy with me, I should say.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Good 3-year term I spent there.
Okay.
As head of the department. And in addition to that, sorry.
No, good.
In addition to that, there is that CSDVC, Center for Systems and Devices,
Yes.
which grew up only from funds from the defense establishments. All defense-related research work, especially on radar and communication, was being done in that special center.
I see.
And one Professor Narasimhan was there.
Yes.
He was a person with whom the department could not get along somehow, some skill.
Sir, Professor Varadarangan's guide?
I don't know.
Okay, sir. Better than that. Okay.
Professor Narasimhan. So he used to have some problem, but I could manage him. So we got on well.
Okay. You were about to ask something.
So I was about to ask you about the advent of the IBM 370 computer. Was that related to the electrical engineering department or was it
No.
conceived of as separate?
Completely different. So Kamala and Muthukrishna, they were involved with that, and that became a completely different department.
Always started.
Always started, independently. We had, just like any other department, we had the usual contact. But in securing that computer or final working with that thing and all that, we had no contact.
I have a question about the wildlife on campus. Campus is always known for its spotted deer and other animals. So you made an interesting observation that greenery was
Much.
better in the earlier years. What about the wildlife? Did you have any interesting encounters with wildlife?
So only to this extent, while they are so nice to look at, you would be cursing them when they jump into your garden and finish it off in one day. In one night, it is all gone. You take so much trouble to grow your flowers and all that, and in one night they used to come and finish it. I used to curse them at that time. Otherwise, we enjoyed it.
Were there monkeys as well?
Not so much. Monkeys were there, but not a menace. Not so much of a menace as it is in towns. Like, for example, we live in Mysore and Bangalore. There are certain, even in Mysore, there is an area where we have a flat. When they come in herds, family, more families, the kids of all sizes, and they rampage the house. But it's not as here. It's a wild area, but in the city it happens. Not so much here in the campus. But they have other surrounding much better. There they get the food in the campus.
Yes. And then over a period of time, sir, you were Dean of Administration.
Yes. 3 years.
So can we talk about it a little? Yeah.
What did it entail compared to teaching and research?
It was a peaceful period, relatively peaceful. There were no problems. Well, Professor Indiration had brought in the credit system and it was working nice. So Muthukrishnan was the Dean Academic
courses.
And I think PRS Rao, Srinivas Rao was the Dean
Students.
Research.
Oh, Civil Engineering PS Rao.
And then Raju was ICSR.
Yes.
ICSR. And relatively peaceful period. Professor Swami inducted me as a dean, I think. Professor Swami. And by the time Natarajan came, I had already finished my
92 to 95 or 96?
89 to 90. 90 I finished, I think.
90 you finished, sir.
90, 87.
Sir, Swami, 84 to 89 was Indiration. 90 to 95 was Swami.
Correct. I was inducted by Indiration and finished with Swami.
Okay.
Finished with the Dharma.
93 maybe.
Yes.
That was 93.
That was a peaceful time for me. There was not much load. Mostly routine term. The greatest problem was always the recruitment, faculty recruitment. Arranging these interviews and selection committees, fixing dates for that. Administratively, within IIT, there were no problems. Even with the working unions and this thing, there were no problems, no strikes or anything of that type. It was a relatively calm.
Okay.
Did the hospital administration also come under the dean administration?
No.
How did that
Chairman Council of Arts used to look after. Dean administration was mostly faculty recruitment, and even for the non-faculty, the working rules for promotion and all that. Forget the schemes, what are they called now and all. Every 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
they reviewed and they get promotion. Right? Different names are there. Those things had to be reworked out several times because all IITs used to have common rules. We had several meetings with other IIT staff and they were working on those things. And as Dean admitted, sometimes when the director is away, I was directly in charge for a few days, weeks possibly. And academic activities, we had not much to do, but promotion rules for promotion of faculty, they were being worked out. So several meetings of deans used to attend in Delhi. Delhi was usually the center for working out such meetings. Common rules were involved at that time.
Okay.
Faculty promotion.
Yeah.
Otherwise, interviews for selection of faculty, to get the expert names, finalize dates with them. It was more of a routine work, nothing very great.
Were there any proactive efforts taken during the time to recruit particular faculty members or to bolster our faculty strength?
Yes, to this extent that I think the minimum qualification of PhD for even lecturer's post, etc., was brought in at that time. Or even lecturer's post got abolished afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, that was all being discussed in
That was around 1991.
No, I'm thinking of how Professor Ramchandran actually recruited you from Germany itself. What was the institute doing to recruit good faculty?
In fact, some of the faculty members, senior faculty members, were told USA also, I think, USA, England, etc., and were looking for some faculty in those days. But in my particular case, it was very simple because the equipment was coming from Germany. And this professor with whom I was working was involved in the Madras committee. In my particular. Otherwise, they used to look for people abroad who are about to finish, etc., and have discussions with them, writing letters to them, inviting them to join. That was the practice.
So one of the things I want to ask about recruitment. So was there at that time a kind of a lot of pressure on faculty to publish, and number of papers would be counted for recruitment or promotion? Was it very strict at that time?
Being discussed. Some of them were brought in at the time of selection, faculty selection, they used to come up. How many publications, how many international publications, how many Indian publications.
Yes.
These are all being discussed. And they were not formulated.
Okay, because
later on they are
point system was given and a lot of emphasis. I don't know, a lot of or overemphasis. Some of us felt that
he used to give some points. So many points. For Indian, so many points.
Not only that, one joint author paper, half point each or something like that. Some of us, we were still not,
said go abroad. If you apply, want to go abroad from institute courses, they used to work out what have you published, how many points you have earned, when did you last go abroad, whether you can be permitted. Sabbatical, if you try, the same thing, whether you are eligible for sabbatical.
Sir, I remember once in 4 years we were entitled to go abroad if we had published some minimum number of. It was a kind of indirect pressure, which is okay. But as faculty, we used to think, we are serving, why don't you give us the permission? So one of the things I think as Dean of Administration, apart from the regular administration, you came out with the idea, I remember this, of waste management in the campus, if I am right. Could you say something about it? Because it's going on full scale now.
It was not directly related to my work as Dean Administration.
Yes, it was not.
More out of general consciousness about cleanliness in the campus. Myself and Dr. Durga Prasad Rao from Chemical Engineering Department, we were involved in that process. So we developed that SWARM, it was called, Solid Waste and Recycling Management, SWARM. was the acronym for that. And at that time, waste was being collected once in few days or so, or once some outside agency was getting involved in that collection, I think.
Uh-huh.
They were quite irregular and all that. So we thought starting an activity like this, and then we arranged for the collection and vermiculture. We wanted to put up some pits near the Velachari gate there and supply that manure to the campus residents to do these things. We did it on a sort of pilot scale, I think, initially with this vermiculture project was quite interesting and it benefited some people. Later on, we started even competing. We got a tender also from the engineering unit to collect waste inside the
I see.
farm group. Especially, I must thank Professor Durga Prasad Rao for that. He took a lot more interest. I did the initial organization,
Okay.
but later on, effective fruition of that thing, I must credit it to Durga Prasad.
So I remember that meeting very well because I was there. For some reason, I was invited. Professor Rao was writing to get a proper acronym for that. We tried several things, and then we came out with SWARM SWARM, and everybody liked it. I remember that.
Yeah, we had a meeting in the central lecture theatre
Yes.
to decide what should be the name of this organization and all that. Several alternatives came up, but this was good. And we are quite happy. Later on, the institute awarded the contract also to Swarm. I heard and Durga Prasad did a good job.
And I think it's now expanded, and maybe it has a new name. I'm not sure. But it started when he was the Dean of Administration.
It is evolving.
It is evolving, but it is a very nice thing. It was not part of his official duties, but
Music club was one of my pet things, and Swaram was the second pet. I should say. And it was not an official thing, but out of private initiative came up.
Sir, say something about your translation of books that you have done from German to English. Was it during your professor here or later you started that?
I used to do it because these books, 2 or 3 books were written by this professor with whom I worked.
Okay.
So the material was practically known to me in German. And in my coursework also, I used to teach the same thing in English here. So the idea was already there that it should appear in black and white as a book. So when when he asked me whether I could do it in English, I very gladly jumped at the offer. And he even suggested the publisher in India. It was published in India. Actually, due to this contract and all, it could not be sold other than in India, not outside India. That was the contract. Because the quality of paper which they use here, they doesn't compare with the outside standard. That was the excuse given. And they made it their contract that publisher should permit publication in India, you see.
Yes, we remember they used to be called Eastern editions or some such name. Right?
Indian edition.
Yeah.
So it became a textbook in Indian engineering colleges. It was used as a very good textbook, but there were very few books on high voltage engineering in English, except 1 or 2 which we had studied. There were no new books available. So this was a welcome addition in English and became quite popular in all engineering colleges.
So I'm just curious to know whether it came out under your name or
Joint.
what it was considered
Since it was a translation, it cannot come in your name. It can come in the author's name with a subtitle, translated by source.
And after retirement, you have been teaching German also.
Yes, as a past time, because in Mysore, I was there in the local engineering colleges as external faculty, visiting faculty for 1 or 2 years, and set up their similar laboratories on a lower scale. These were, Lego sets, we say, Lego set units.
Oh, okay.
Modular kits, they are called. Modular set laboratories in JC and other institutions. And he also helped them in setting up their laboratories. But then afterwards, I found there is much lack of interest in the students And even the faculty was not very keen, so I stopped attending the visiting process was there. And while sitting at home, I just wanted to engage myself. So I put in a local advertisement. There were interested people. Because in those days, there were a lot of more students going to Germany than to US. Education is cheap in Germany. Fees is much less compared to US or UK. So a lot of students were applying for German university. And one of the conditions for them was at least working knowledge of German. If not a thorough German, at least working knowledge to read and write. In that connection, I used to get some students. I started teaching them at home in batches of 6, 8 students at a time like that. I teach.
Was this technical German that you taught them?
No, spoken German.
Spoken.
Okay.
Technical German, varied departments or disciplines students come.
It is department specific.
I can teach only in electrical engineering. So that was not useful. But when they go there, at least they should be able to read those boards and understand what it's about. Railway station language, what you need in a railway station, what you need in a bank, what you need in general purpose mall or market. This general spoken German, that is not written German.
Right.
Written German is even more difficult because your grammar must be perfect. Spoken German, I go home, if you say everybody will understand. I intend to go home, I wish to go home. See what is the subtle difference in these. Those things you must know were written German. But for spoken, I go home, I home go. Also,
Anything goes. Anything goes.
like that. Spoken German is easy. And that is what is required first for them when you go to Germany. That I used to teach.
Sir, one thing.
Later on, they have to take the examination and to prepare them for the German consulate in Bangalore conducts the examination. So they should appear for what is it called? Basic Grundstufe. Eins Grundstufe is why basic. They used to take the exam, and if they pass, they get that certificate. Because I cannot give any certificate. I'm not a qualified German teacher.
Yeah.
A certificate is an essential requirement for study.
Study.
Know the language.
Yes.
To that extent. Some universities prescribe. Level A, you must complete. Level B, you must complete. Nowadays, the interest has gone down because there are so many online coaching
Okay.
going on. Free of cost.
Free of cost.
I used to charge a nominal thing. Because if you don't charge anything, the student lose interest.
Lose interest.
Nothing should be free.
They think it is not important.
Nothing should be free. I don't have to live from that, but I have to charge you for that. I used to tell them. Otherwise, you are not interested. 2 classes you attend, third already you stop.
Yeah.
That used to happen. In the local engineering college, I said, you will teach German. So, you must register, I said. So, 150 registrations.
You are very happy.
So, I go there 2 times a week, I used to say. Oh, there I go. Oh, 100 students are there. Next class, up to 80. Third class, 50. Fourth class, 30. Went down to 10 persons in the end. Because it was all free, no commitment.
Anything free.
Next year, what we did, the placement section used to request me to do this thing. It will help them in placements. I agreed, I will do it free. I don't charge you anything. Next time we said, all right, we'll give you a textbook free. If you register and attend it. Even then the same thing happened. So I stopped doing those things. Those who are interested must pay for it, at least nominally, and then I used to give them.
Sir, in this connection, I would like to ask him, before that, maybe we missed out on the CEC. The Central Electronics section, is it different from CSD you talked about? You also contributed to that.
Section altogether because it came under the administration directly. It's one of those centers which are listed separately.
Okay.
Center for Systems and Devices, CSD, CEC, Central Workshop. It comes under that category. It was not directly under the electrical engineering department.
Okay.
But generally, the head of the department is also in charge.
So you are.
So Sampath was in charge initially. Started that.
Okay.
Dr. Kumaran, he started. He did a very good job. Solar cells and all that we developed there. Lot of work was done. When I was in charge, Kumaran was myself. We had a collaboration. he continued that solar work. His PhD work also was there supervised to some extent. It is housed also in the
Electrical department.
Even the PA system was given to CEC.
Oh, yes, PSA. We used to come to electrical
Not
department
PA
for
system, you
the.
had to apply to CEC.
Yeah. Right, they used to get it.
Things changed. But
Okay.
that was it.
Sir, I would like to ask you a related thing. You have tremendous experience in Germany, here, you're Dean of Administration. About 10, 12 years back, we had an Indo-German Center for Sustainability here. Some exchange of students, faculty. It is almost terminated. This is the last year. But an offshoot of that, I understand, is a Center for Sustainability, which is coming up in IIT Madras, Professor Ashwin. But I was involved in that IGS for some time. Why we observe that not many German students, with all this interaction with IIT Madras especially, IIT Madras, the German government says it's one of their big achievements in the academic field. We don't find a lot of German students even showing interest. Can you just throw some light on that?
One reason maybe because there are enough institutions in Germany, they get a good training there. And the institutions in India which can train them better are far and few.
Okay.
Like IIT is a specific example. But we used to get students from, I think we had a student from Egypt, one from, where is this new IIT starting? Zanzibar.
Zanzibar.
We had one from African nation.
Mm-hmm.
He did work in the electrical engineering department.
Oh, even when you were here, I see.
We used to get a few students from abroad also, but no regular contact agreement was there. Off and on we used to get some students. One Egyptian, he did his PhD also here at that time.
Okay. So I was just looking at the German perspective because we say we had great cooperation between these two countries.
They were not very keen on coming to India.
Okay.
Except as tourists. Because the level of training they would get here was not comparable to what they would get. But some of these assistants who came under the Indo-German aid, they went back and worked for their PhDs, etc. in Germany.
Okay.
Not many worked here. We had one or two, not German students.
Okay.
They were not very keen on working. One thing maybe also because of English language.
That could be one.
Germans are not very familiar with English. Only the university level, these professors and others, they used to speak English. Others were from beginning to end in German. They used to speak only broken English. And then if they come here and attend courses and all, it will be very difficult for them. Just as it is for you.
Yeah.
When you go there in German, everything is in German. So reverse exchange was not so common. Except at the higher level. Professors used to come. But not for the students. The system is different in Germany.
Yeah.
The credit courses, credit system was already there, and exchange of universities, they could do it freely there, which is not permitted here in those days. So no student would like to come to India.
You think even today that's the case maybe?
Yeah.
We want more of international students, and Germany is our close collaborator in many ways, but they don't. So you were here in the campus, you had already German professors and families were there still. How was your interaction with them?
Every department was assisted by German university. Some university other. We had connection with Aachen, Braunschweig, Berlin, Karlsruhe, like that. Even in Germany, there were only 5 technical universities in those days. Now there are 20.
I see.
Only all these 5, they had this Madras committee under which they were working together. Some would help mechanical, some would help electrical department, some civil department, like that.
Yes.
So we got from Germany a professor, or in each section there used to be a professor and 2 or 3 assistants. And they had the best of terms to come to on an assignment like this to Madras. They could come with their families, quarters, and these things were assured for them. And food, they can import all their food from Germany to India.
Oh.
Things, frozen food,
Wow.
everything.
I see.
And servants, of course, the servants, they would get plenty cheap rates here. Because of their white skin, they were also preferred employers for these people. And Dore used to call them here, Darsani and Dore, for our local people. They were Dore and I used to shout at them, why do you call them Dore?
Oh, the servants here used to call them, wow.
Servants used to call them Dore. Dore and Darsani and right. Of course, because I came with full German knowledge and German treated on par, but other faculty members, they were looked down by some of these people. They had initial problems that they would not recognize Indian faculty also to some extent. What do they know on the Madras? So like,
was there a common Madras committee for among all these 5 institutions?
Yeah, the representatives from these universities formed the Madras committee.
One Madras committee, common to all of them.
Because that is the federal German government assistance, how it should be routed, to which university it should go, which department should go, all that was decided by the Madras. Professor Meyer, Professor Kind, Professor Zeinecke, all in the electrical department.
Yes.
And, Meyer, for example, came several times to Madras. He liked it so much.
Okay.
Here. They used to like it. So they could import even their cars and food stuff, whatever you are used to in Germany, they could import it free of import duty and all these things. It was all part of the contract.
Okay.
See, the contract was Indian government will provide the buildings and infrastructure. The faculty would initially come by the thing, and the equipment also comes from Germany.
Yes.
Faculty would be trained. That's how somehow the faculty were sent to Germany for getting trained there.
So today's ICSR started off as ICC with Professor Wagner. Wagner. Hans Wagner. So you were here at that time. You had any?
Yeah, he started. Then immediately, first dean was Raju.
90s.
Ramarao came
Later.
And I think Shastri.
No, Shastri was professor of Dean of Academic Research only.
Academic research. ICSR was, mostly Wagner was involved in planning and this thing and all that. That was a good concept which was started off by him. To get individually in each department, there were collaborations on a much smaller scale than it is today. Today it is very good, interaction between the industry and the IIT. But in those days, a few departments, like for example in electrical also, everybody did not have. But we in the high voltage, we had good contact because the testing facility was with us and there were very few testing laboratories around Madras. We must have seen IIT electrical engineering department used to use those huge trailers.
Yes.
Whereas other departments were in a much smaller scale. Civil engineering had a good consultancy section.
Civil engineering.
Electrical engineering, some sections had a good consultancy, but not all of them.
Sir, you retired in 1996, so it has been 7 years. So you are now you can look at the IIT system from outside. So what has been your impression in the last post-retirement period?
Post-retirement, the first thing which comes to my mind is the proliferation of IITs. Now there are 28.
Sir, it's a quiz question.
28, one in each state, I think.
Today, how many IITs in India is a quiz question actually, because tomorrow it will be different.
One in each state, union territory is excluded, it should be around 28. I don't know, I may be wrong.
23 now.
23. So that is the first thing which comes to my mind. Are they all in the same level, it is not possible.
It's not possible.
Because many of them are new institutions, some of them are upgraded institutions. For example, Roorkee was always at the level of IIT.
Yes.
Got the name IIT added to it simply.
Yes.
Look at BHU IIT. It was also
Yeah.
on par with other IITs, but always one step lower. Always.
Yes.
Even in selection, you must have seen.
Yes. Yes.
Reference to BHU IIT was the last, always. After the 5 IITs, Guwahati came in as the 6th, I think.
Yes. Yes.
And then BHU IIT was added to that, 7 it became. But now, with the proliferation, it was necessary, I agree, when your intake is increased to a certain extent, you had to new IITs had to come in, and that has been done, okay. But are they able to maintain the same quality? Not 100%, but at least managed with the aid from the existing IITs. They have led their faculty to these IITs. So something is going on, but I don't know whether the quality is the same in all IITs. I'm not very sure.
Yeah.
I'm not informed about that. So I don't know if it has been a good thing or bad. On the face of it, it looks a good thing, but in some details, I don't know.
Yeah.
How is it, by the way?
I also don't know.
You know?
So to be
With this remote teaching and all that, how far they are successful?
yeah.
I think Tirupati has one, it is controlled.
Our Satyanarayana is the director. And that and Palghat. Palghat also, IIT Madras.
Hyderabad is also.
Hyderabad, no, it goes up. Yeah, to my best knowledge, Hyderabad is doing well. Ahmedabad is doing well among the new IITs. As you said, Roorkee was already, all over the thing. Guwahati is also okay, as I see. But several other IITs there still have to pick up for various reasons.
Come on par with the previous.
Various
But
reasons.
I hope they will do.
They will do it.
With the support which they are getting from other IITs, it should be possible to come to the same. It's a good thing.
You want to ask something? You want to ask? You are also supposed to be here. So, anything that we have missed. Okay.
Yeah.
So, sir, overall, how was your, what do you think of your IIT professional and personal family experience?
On the professional side, I am quite satisfied, I should say. I have had the best of opportunity to do something which I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And to a large extent, I have been successful.
Yes.
I don't agree that it has been fully 100%, but at least 80% I have achieved what I wanted in my life. Should be happy. On the personal side, too, I am quite happy that we lived in the campus. Our children grew up here in the campus.
Yes.
They did all their education here.
Yes.
And we have been quite happy with them, except for minor things.
Yeah, that will always be there.
Did not happen, but they happened. So otherwise, we had a fairly good life in IIT. I'm glad that I joined Madras, other than because I could have easily gone to IISc.
Okay.
I was an alumni of the institute, and the then professor there told me, anytime you can come back to but I didn't go there. My point was, in Bangalore, the lab already existed.
Yeah.
It had its name. It was always looked up as the place in India. Whereas here, there was nobody to do anything. So I was the only person who could do that job at that time, and I was preferred. I came here.
Yeah.
So I am quite happy I could achieve something here, and establish a new setup, rather than join a setup which is already.
Yeah, that is the big satisfaction that you get. Yes, and that is still sustained. That is running. A lot of people are still making use of. Yes.
And especially what makes me happy is that with the induction of Sarathi, it was a good decision. It was a good decision because it was losing its name and fame and all that.
I see.
High voltage lab.
I see.
He has kept it up. He has brought in new ideas and he has developed it to such an extent which I really wonder. but it was possible.
That's a big compliment coming from you to Professor Sarathi.
It comes from my heart.
Yeah. I can see it.
Good job, and if that continues, the high voltage lab is system.
Goodness. I know you are feeling it actually.
He just came as he had finished his PhD.
I see.
Sarthi had finished his PhD. He just came and joined as a technical assistant or so, something here.
I see.
The way he has got into this thing is really remarkable. He has really done a good job. I hear 36, 37 PhDs he has completed.
My gosh.
Not a small thing. In technical engineering field.
Yeah.
I was telling you yesterday, Professor Marx, with whom I wanted to work, did 99 PhDs worked under him during the Second World War. It was called a doctor's factory.
Okay.
He produced PhDs in 2 years, 3 years, which was impossible in Germany. At least 5 years they used to take. In 2 years. It was called Marx Factory.
I see.
99 he completed. Somehow he could not complete the 100.
I
He
see.
was arrested and put in jail and all that.
Wow.
Because once the war was over,
Okay.
it was all war effort. What Marx needed. So I was telling Sarathi yesterday, you will complete with Marx.
Oh, yeah, he's still a lot of time to do it.
37 and 6 are on hand, he says again. So he's doing a good job.
Very nice.
Really appreciate it.
Very good to know. Anything more?
That sums up almost
that
everything.
sums
So anything we missed out and you want to say on your own?
Personal and all that.
Anything you want to say on your own which we have missed out? Anything else? Please kindly.
Yeah, this Heritage Center is a good idea. It's a good idea. I think it was started by Professor Anand or
Yes.
Natarajan. Natarajan and Anand.
Natarajan gave the idea. And,
Good idea. Keep the memories alive. And I will also tell the previous faculty members that they are not forgotten. Their job is really appreciated and all that. Keep growing. You're doing a good job. Keep growing. And I hope memories of it will be maintained. You've done a good job. Keep doing and involve more of the senior faculty to get the previous history, what happened during the early stages and all. Because most of it is not on record anywhere. It is taken for granted and things pass on like
Yes.
that. Something should be recorded for the posterity. And this Heritage Center and you people, all of you are doing a good job, especially Kolar, who did the initial work. No, later on they will carry on. The initial work is more important. You started the whole thing. Natarajan support,
Yes.
and Anand support were really good. I hope, I wish you all the very best in the Heritage Center.
Thank you, sir. The oral history idea itself came from oral history, this kind of recording oral history, Professor Nagarajan and our Kumaran.
The idea of oral history came from Professor Roland.
Okay.
It's a very clear tradition in physics.
So there's a
European.
German faculty member here in humanities who has taken a lot of interest in going to the history of IIT Madras. I mean, in a very analytical way. So it was his.
If I remember correctly, the German universities have this system. They record the previous happenings and keep it as a heritage.
Okay.
They do have it.
So in a way, it's from Germany.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So that,
This tradition is very important in Germany. There's a lot of weight on the keeping of the tradition. So for the English universities also, tradition is very important. Oxford and Eton, they have their own name, their own specialities and all that. Like that, our universities also should maintain some tradition. Establishing a tradition is very important. Because everything which was old is not necessarily bad.
Yeah.
Old also might be gold sometimes, so that should be continued. That should be continued.
Good.
So I wish you people a lot of luck and more prosperity and more such things. Yeah. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to spend time with you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor
Thank you
Kolar.
very much, sir.